Hi guys, welcome back to another Word to the Wise Wednesday. Today we're going to talk about comma splices. First, here's an explanation. A comma splice is a sentence where you take two independent clauses, or basically pieces of a big sentence that could stand on their own as their own sentence, and you put a comma in between them and put them together. Now, to make sense of this, we're just going to start off with some examples. The first of which is, John's marketing campaign was a great success. His insurance agency received a 300% increase in leads. A perfectly acceptable sentence if you know how to put the proper punctuation in it. A lot of people will mistakenly put a comma in between success and his. John's marketing campaign was a great success, comma, his insurance agency received a 300% increase in leads. That is not correct punctuation in your writing. You want to create this sentence. You'd like the two independent clauses to be one sentence together because you think it flows better, but you don't just want to use a comma. You can use a semicolon, or you can use a comma with a coordinating conjunction. Now that can be done some of the time, but not always. So we're going to look at some different examples of how we did this. Let's take our example sentence. John's marketing campaign was a great success. His insurance company received a 300% increase in leads. We could do a semicolon between success and his, or we can break that into two sentences. Now, some people don't want to break it into two sentences, but it's completely acceptable. John's marketing campaign was a great success, period. His insurance company received a 300% increase in leads. So if you have two independent clauses, a semicolon is what you want to reach for, not a comma. Here's another example. Charlotte gasped as the scoop of ice cream tumbled to the ground. It was turning out to be a difficult day. We can make that into one sentence, but since they're two independent clauses, they could stand on their own. If you want to make it one sentence, reach for that semicolon. Charlotte gasped as the scoop of ice cream tumbled to the ground, semicolon. It was turning out to be a difficult day. Or you can make it two independent sentences. Charlotte gasped as the scoop of ice cream tumbled to the ground, period. It was turning out to be a difficult day. So depending on the mood you want your paragraph to be, you may in one instance choose a semicolon. You may in a certain instance choose to make it two separate sentences. Now we could break it down further with this sentence. Let's take the example, I only got 4 hours of sleep last night. I feel more than a little bit sluggish. Putting a comma between those two independent clauses would be incorrect. You could put a semicolon to make those two separate each other a little bit more in flow. You could use a period to make them really stand by themselves. But what some people may choose to do, if you kind of want the flow to go together, you want it to be one sentence and you want it to be together, use the coordinating conjunction. One example would be so. I only got 4 hours of sleep last night, comma, so I feel more than a little bit sluggish. That would be proper grammar. So those are your options if you're dealing with a comma splice. Two independent clauses, which means they could stand on their own as a sentence. We don't separate them with commas. We can use a semicolon. We can separate into two sentences, or in some instances, we can use a comma and that connecting word. So, yet, therefore, and, words like that, and connect them into one sentence. Again, this is not a all-encompassing rule for every instance that you're going to run into in writing, but it's a good basic rule to avoid the comma splice when you write for your business. Thanks, guys. Have a great week.